Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mortgage Coaches Training Thursday. This is Lori Lytle, and I'll be your host for today's training. So with our trainings on, if you're new to the call, the trainings for Training Thursday, what we do is it's a QA style. So we're here on the call to answer any questions that you may have. So the way this works is open up your GoToMeeting control panel. So if you open that up, you'll see an area for questions. Open that area up and ask any questions along the way, and also answer to questions that I'm going to be asking. So here what I want to ask is, is there a particular presentation that you would like to learn today? Do you want to work with a refinance on a total cost analysis? Do you want to work with the open house flyer? What are the different areas that you struggle? Are you okay? Have you created product templates, fee templates? So I want you to open up the question area and answer those questions for me. Bill, Stephen, Andrew, if you could go ahead and answer a couple questions, just let me know where your struggles are in Mortgage Coach so I could focus today's training on those areas. If we don't have any particular presentations, then, well, welcome, Andrew. This is a great place to start with Training Thursdays. As I have mentioned, this is a wild card in a sense. We could go anywhere on our topic. We'll answer the questions as we go through it. If there's a particular presentation, as I mentioned, put it in the question area and we'll focus on that. What also I want to point out, if you click on this help button here, it takes you to our knowledge base. And with our knowledge base, what we do have, I'll open into a new tab so your edge is open. I want to point out our monthly event calendar. So with that, you could have quite a bit of more training. So as you, Andrew, being new, we do have an intro to Mortgage Coach. So if you wanted to go a little bit slower, this just creates a total cost analysis very simply. So this gives you the nuts and bolts of Mortgage Coach. And then Wednesdays, we have Mobile Wednesdays. We're going to cover a little bit about the mobile device on today's call, but this Mobile Wednesdays is a great call to be on to learn how to deliver your advice with your mobile phone and working with those borrowers. So this call is live and it's different. So each time. So go on it. We have people attend this multiple times. And the last training I want to bring your attention to is our Mortgage Coach University. It's the beginning of each month. Bill, at the first 3 weeks of each month, we provide an MCU training. So we have a 101 and a 102 course. And I encourage you to just take a look at the curriculum. So if you go ahead and click on this link here, it'll provide you the topics for our classes. So you can see how there's so many different items you can learn. We'll give you the nuts and bolts, but we also show you how to create different types of presentations, different price ranges, different types of products. So this is another area where you'll be able to get some training. So Andrew, where are you struggling? So is it just going through the motions, keying in? Have you developed product templates or fee templates? Bill, I can't believe analyze. I'm glad you're converting. Just try. So you could do it. Okay, great. So you should have seen, Bill, that intro class and the other trainings we offer. So you could go ahead and learn more from that area. Okay, great. We'll talk about the mobile toward the end of the call, so thank you for letting me know that's a struggle for you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on creating a refinance. With rates being low, we're getting a lot of questions coming through our support box regarding refinances. What I've also noticed is when people provide their links, they're providing only one loan product to compare against, which is fine if you're showing that current mortgage, but if you only have one product, if it's a purchase or maybe you're not showing that current mortgage data but just the product, you always need to have two products. And I get, we get comments, I don't have another product. This is the only one they qualify for, or possibly they don't even want to shop for a different type of product, which is fine. So what I'll do is with this particular presentation we're going to create, we'll create the current refinance, we'll create just a fixed rate sample, but then we'll show you how to use a copy, create that second product, and we'll show you how you can use it to show them how to quickly pay down principal. So we'll use that reinvestment strategy. So you always have a second product, even if you think you do not have one, always show a reinvestment. Show them how they can pay down principal and become that financial advisor to, with them. So to start out, what I want you to do is to follow along. Let's go ahead and click on New Client. So when you start a TCA, as you go through it, what I'm going to do is show you the least amount of fields to key in to create a product. As we go through, you'll notice there's only about 4 or 5 fields, besides that current mortgage details, that you really have to fill in. Okay, Bill has some questions about illustrating various rates versus fee examples, closing costs versus reduced closing costs versus no closing costs. What we'll do is we'll touch base a little bit on that when we talk about the product. It's very similar to what I'll be doing here. So what I'm going to do is let's just go ahead and start our presentation here. And whoops, I'm just going to go ahead and put my name in here. And I'm jumping down to my friendly name field. I always like to have a reference and know what this file's for, so I'm just going to write in training Thursday, and I believe today is the 25th, I hope. So I just put the date in, and this is just because of reference. I want to know which training Thursday. What you could do is put like purchase, refi. If you're doing an open house presentation, a good note in here is the street address, because the copy function will allow you to copy presentations, and then like with the open house presentation, you don't have to copy the contact information for your realtor or their image or their logo. So that friendly name helps quite a bit to be able to understand which presentation you're going to go ahead and access. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to mark any goals here. This will automatically trigger a refinance. If you're doing a purchase, mark purchase a new home. You can also go ahead and put in those other items, but in the scheme of trying to get through this quickly, I'm bypassing this screen. So now you have information that you're going to fill in. We're just going to go ahead and put in a purchase price of $300,000, and I'm going to leave the others empty for now. Again, we're trying to speed through this process. We are going to fill out the information for the current mortgage, and then when we finish these details, we're going to come back to the screen and talk about these fields a little bit more. But first, let's enter the information on the current mortgage. So as we advance our screen, you can see how we come to assumptions, and we're capturing that current mortgage detail. With refinances, and especially if they're a new client, you might not know all these details. So first, we'll put in the information as if we know, and then we'll go and I'll show you how you can modify certain fields to be able to get either a certain outstanding balance or maybe a different P&I payment. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that they took out this loan in 2013. Oops. At the time, the original loan amount was $250,000. They had an interest rate of 4.5 and a term of 360. So as you put their information in, you'll see that we calculate a remaining balance. So with this, it's from the amortization period, and it's just straight P&I payment applied to the outstanding balance. So what will happen here is if they have paid down the mortgage, it wouldn't show because it's just showing true numbers. So with this, you can see how you have the loan amount, rate, term, remaining balance, and at the very base, the P&I payment. So now say you had a P&I payment and this didn't match. Well, possibly one of these figures isn't correct. So you know the term is a 30-year mortgage, so maybe they weren't quite sure on that interest rate. So you could go ahead and modify this, and you can see the adjustment in the P&I payment at the base. So with that, you can just keep increasing, decreasing to then find the payment that you're looking for. So that's one way of looking for the P&I payment. So say they know the term and the rate, they're definitely sure of it, but possibly they have that loan amount, the original loan amount off. So that's what's throwing at the P&I payment. So you can always, again, just modify that as well. So if I put in 240,000, you can see my P&I payment adjusted. So that is how you can work with modifying the different fields to be able to get to that payment. And going back to that remaining balance, so say they did pay down the first mortgage, or down their outstanding balance, so down paying down principal. So all you need to do is you can override this field and say they have paid it down to 225,000. So if you override it with the outstanding balance of their loan, then it will take that information and carry it over to your products. This will be the figure that it will work with cash to close as well. So now I'm just modifying my rate just to be able to put that remaining balance back. So we know how to override a remaining balance field here, but there's one other area that I want to point out. So we're going to go back a screen, and we're going to talk about that current total payoff amount. So this field too, you could go ahead and put in a figure of the outstanding balance, and this will be the field that would be used for cash to close. So if you resubordinate a second, you would want to keep this field empty. So you can see that notation that carries up, and you can read that. We suggest is that this field is always left empty, and that way our system will use the remaining balance for your cash to close. So if you have any questions on that, put that in the question area, but I provided quite a bit of details how you can work with that P&I payment by modifying the figures above, also how to override the remaining balance with the true principal amount, and we use that to calculate the cash to close. So once you have all your figures in, you advance the screen. They might be able to have told you what those exact figures are for your taxes and insurance. I'm just going to estimate them for right now. Another area that people have questions on is mortgage insurance. So let's go ahead and put in 0.95%, and its cutoff is at 78% LTV. So what we're going to do is when we go into products, we'll provide you what that LTV percentage is to see if that MI has recently cut. What I see in the question area is, why is my mortgage insurance not being included with the current mortgage? Most likely what has happened is due to the new appraised amount, it has reached that 78%. So if you need to specifically carry MI out for a particular period of time, say 7 years, you can put the number 84 in the minimum MI months field. And what the system will do is carry mortgage insurance for 84 months minimum, then it starts looking at the 78% for cutoff. So this field here, minimum MI months, it's familiar with your FHA products when we put in 360, but you can use this with your current mortgage as well. So you can put in a minimum months that your MI is carried, and then the system will start looking at the LTV percentage. So if you have questions on those fields, go ahead and let me know. Next we have second lien. I'm just going to touch base a little bit on this. I'm not going to go into much detail. We're not going to show a second lien on this product. But if you did have a second lien, all you need to do is mark it yes, and then you capture the information in the same way, but you capture it for that second lien. So now we're done entering our current mortgage, and we now want to move on to our products. You could go directly to products, but just to show you what screens we're going to bypass, it's our affordability screen. I'm not going to fill in anything at this point in time. I just want to move fast through my presentation. But if you want to know these fields, there are some great additional benefits that we have by filling in those fields. Next, we're coming to products. So with the products, you can see on the very right-hand side, we have our current mortgage, and below that, you can see where I was discussing the LTV percentage. So this is where you can see how close it is for cutoff. So basically, my MI is going to be cut off from this loan very soon. So what I want to do is let's just put in a fixed, just a new fixed rate. This isn't going to have MI on it. So what I'm going to do next is you can see how the information from the appraised value came over. So I'm going to mark it now as yes for refinance. And what you'll see is that all the information now for the base loan amount carried over. So you can see in the mortgage area, the mortgage screen for the current mortgage, that remaining balance is now the start of your new loan amount. So with that, you could go ahead and put in the new rate, say it's 3.875, and even though we'll start out with another 30-year term. And we'll discuss this going into our reinvestment strategy. So with that, and let's see, bill, closing cost reduces. So what we're going to do is show one product. The second product I'm going to do is showing you how to do copies. And Bill, you were talking about showing various rates versus fee examples and such. This is the same kind of process. You would want to build the first product, and then when we get to the second product, we'll use that copy feature. So with that, let's first build this product. And so as we advance our screen, let's put in prepaid interest. If you hover your mouse over that, you can see that dollar amount. If you're having any points or a rebate, you could put that amount in this field. And I haven't seen more people using lump sum for their fees. Let me show you how this works, and then we'll go into itemizing the fees. So with fees, okay, looking at some questions here. So with the fees, we have two ways of doing it. You can do it as a lump sum. Sometimes people do this for the open house presentation just to provide them an estimate, and then when they do the total cost analysis and provide it to the borrower, they then use their closing cost details. But to use it as a lump sum, all you have to do is place in that dollar amount for the APR fees. Non-APR fees, what's that's a little high, huh? And then prepaid escrows. So it's really quick just to be able to provide estimates based on your the fees that you provide down. You can always provide an estimate, and you can, when you're talking to the borrower, you can always come back and itemize those fees. So then what you could do is go into your closing cost details. You'll notice right now we have all fees and they're not grayed out. The graying out comes into play when you use the closing cost details. Okay, Bill, we'll talk, Bill has a question on contributions, either lender or seller. So what we'll do is apply a fee template, and before we move off, we'll go ahead and go through all the contribution ways of showing that for the borrower. So with that, if you have built fee templates, or your organization, if you're on an enterprise account, they could have fee templates built for you. You would just want to come and pick your fees. So I'm picking a fee template, and you can see how it goes ahead and carries that information that I've already built. So my fees populate through, and it's really simple. If you haven't built fee templates, build them. It's very simple, and I'll show you in just a moment. But the quick way of doing it is get a fee cost sheet. It has your fee descriptions, your dollar amount, if the fee is an APR, or if it's being paid by, if you're doing VA loans, a lot of times sellers picking up the charge. So you can automatically identify those in templates, and then you could save the templates each time. So you can always bring down a template. If you work on an enterprise account, they might have templates for you. They might be slightly off for your branch maybe. Bring that template down, make any necessary adjustments. Sometimes people leave lenders and owners title insurance empty for you to fill out at when you're creating the presentation. A lot of times that is because this figure is so variable, it's too hard to go ahead and default. So depending on what state you're in, you might see this empty, or you might have it filled in. So with fees, if you're creating a template, just want to point out you have an add fee. You can see how I added a line item, and we have a whole list of drop-downs fees to pick from. You would then just put in the dollar amount, mark it as an APR, or a prepaid escrow. A prepaid escrow is like your escrow, monthly escrows, things like that that are not cost of the loan. So that's how you put in a fee. And then if you have you don't find your description in the pick list, don't worry. You can add a custom fee, describe it how you want it. You can indicate if the percentage fields off the loan amount or property value sales price, if it's an APR. So you can have these automatically defaulted for any of your custom fees. So now let's talk about contributions. So with contributions, we have a couple ways of doing it. We do have a fee in our drop-down label contribution. And with that, it is singular. And I want to point out, because we've seen people come through and they might have created their own and it's plural. The one that's in your list, that singular, that Mortgage Coach provides, is called contribution. And the reason why I bring that to your attention is we built logic behind this. And with that, what you're able to do is place the dollar amount of that contribution as a positive amount. So I went ahead and said there was a $1,000 contribution, and I can identify who that contribution is coming from. Is it the lender? Is it the seller? So you have that option. I have seen people provide a line item when they do their purchase transactions. They just put in a contribution, leave it empty, place it to the seller. It brings up a conversation. If you don't want to label, use this label and want to use your own label, granted you can always point who's paying that amount. This is how you would go ahead and use a custom field. If you went ahead and say you wanted to be able to see the label seller contribution, I could go ahead and put in the description. If I use a percentage, I want it to go off the property value sales price, and I'm pressing OK. That description is now in my pick list for any future presentations that I want to be able to use that fee description for. But what's different with this contribution, because there's no logic, you would have to enter this as a negative. So I would, instead of putting that positive 1,000, I would put a negative 1,000, and I would have to leave it paid by the borrower so I can offset those borrower costs. So if you have a custom description for a contribution, you want to enter it as a negative and leave it paid by the borrower. So Bill, that should answer your questions with that. If not, let me know. We'll hit the fee templates again when we get to our second product. Okay, Les, that's a good question. Okay, perfect, Bill. Les is asking a question about escrow charges, different fees on purchases. With that, it's sort of similar how if it's so variable, people, you could just go ahead and have the settlement fee and leave it as a variable, and then every time you do a presentation, you would just update that amount. If you know based on a percentage, you can always use that percentage field. So for those of you who are in different states and do doc stamps and want percentage fields used, you could go ahead and put in those figures over here, and you can see how we calculate it out. The other way, Bill, is, or Les, is a little work. I know, and say for a company in California, for example, appraisal is based on particular loan amounts. So appraisal fee from 0 to 250, from 250 to 500, 500 to 750, etc. What they have done is when they create product templates, they create product templates based on loan amount. So you would say conventional fee purchase, 0 to 250, and then you would have all your fees, and then that appraisal fee might be different. You know, same thing could be with the escrow fee. You can always have the escrow fee different. It is a lot of work, but really once you've created one, all you need to do is pull down that template, make your adjustments, and then save it as a new template. So it's not that difficult to create all those templates, even various ones based on loan amount. So if there's any other questions on fees, go ahead and let me know. We will catch it on the next product. So if there are some, we could go ahead and address it then. So went through variables. We went ahead and updated our numbers here. And now I'm going to apply it to the loan. So what this will do is take all your fees, and now it totals those APR fees and non-APR costs and contributions. So now you'll see those fields are grayed out, which means those fees are itemized. So if you want to make any changes, you would just need to go back to that closing cost details, make any changes. You could delete it with the trash can if you want to remove a line item or update the fee altogether. Now you'll see that the prepaid escrows are left empty. We'll go ahead and provide in the next screen our monthly costs. So with that, let's just open it up real quick. I'm just putting in my estimates real fast. And then I'm going to have 2 months hazard and 4 months reserves. Once these dollar amounts and the number of reserves are keyed in, what the system will do, and if you're on a purchase transaction, if you have the 12-month premium as well, when you go back a screen, you'll notice you now have prepaid escrows totaled. And if you go into your closing cost details, you'll now see those line items have been added to the file. So I have my hazard reserve as well as tax reserve. If I remove my tax reserves from my closing cost details, apply it to the loan, you'll now see in your monthly cost screen the number of months for tax reserve is removed. So you can see the connection between the two screens, how they work. You can add the information here. It adds it to the closing cost. You can remove it from the closing cost. It will update the screen. So now it's going to go a little bit quicker. We're going to add another product. And so this is if you were showing different rates or different loan amounts or different closing costs versus seller cost contributions, things like that. We're going to use the copy feature. So what I'm going to do is say fix with reinvestment. And with that, what I'm going to do now, instead of keying in any information, we'll use that copy from button. And we're going to copy from our fixed product. With that, what will happen is when you press OK, all your data carries over. So not just the basic data, you'll notice it's marked as a refi, all our closing costs carried over, as well as our monthly costs. So now we have our second product built. So what we're going to do is in the analysis screen, we're going to go ahead and modify this one product slightly so we can show them how to pay down principal quicker. So with that, let's go ahead and advance the screen. But you can see just by using that copy feature, it was really quick to create the second product. And now let's show that second product just by applying amounts toward principal. So instead of adding another product, I'm stopping at 2. So let's advance our screen. And in here, where we want to go is to our adjust reinvestment strategy. So here our matrix comes up, and this is where you can apply reduction to principal. So say you can see their amount savings right off the bat. So you can put in just directly that amount, and you can now show the borrower keep on that same monthly mortgage payment that you're currently making, and you'll have that loan paid off in a little less than 19 years. Right now, they're less than 27. So that's a big chunk that they'll be able to reduce it by. Also, you're still able to show them exactly what path it is if they just pay that direct payment. So now let's take a look at these two real quick and how our presentation looks. So what I'm going to do is hover my mouse and go up to preview. Let's go ahead and put in a quote date and check out a presentation. So with the presentation, now you'll see the current mortgage, the fix, that's the new product, and this is the second product that we're providing them and it will show reinvestment. So you always can have two products side by side to compare against, and you can always use that reinvestment if you have no other product to show. So what the difference is, we have that reduction payment and that savings amount that they're currently saving on their product. You'll be able to show them what their freedom point is by applying that additional principal. And you can also go into that more info button and show them through the reinvestment. I would highlight the field so that they could see the differences here. Sometimes the current mortgage, you might not have enough data to fill this out. You might not want to show it. It's easy to remove it. So all you need to do is just go to Edge, hover your mouse over Presentation, and go into Select Report. This is where you can remove a product from your presentation. So I uncheck the current mortgage, advance my screen, and let's watch as the presentation now will update, and it's going to remove that current mortgage. So if you remove a current mortgage, now it's not showing that reinvestment of that savings because there's nothing to compare against. But what we could do here is just change the reduction payment. So if you want to be able to provide them their fixed product, you want to provide a second product, but you don't have another product to show something with reinvestment, even if it's as simple as $100. So if you go back to Edge, I'm going to my analysis screen, and now let's go to adjust reinvestment strategy. So here, we'll just do a simple $100. And you see, it still is at a less period of time than that current mortgage the way it is right now. So let's press OK, advance our screen, and let's take a look at the report being updated with only that $100 difference. It's sort of like that. Yes, and that's great, Bill. He was just focused on principal, but you definitely can show about reinvestment. And a lot of times the borrowers might be working with a financial planner, and that's might be a way of going. So what you can do, so let's go back to Edge. Let's go to, I'm going to go ahead and put on that current mortgage back on our product. Let's go back to the analysis screen and reinvestment. And so as Bill was talking about, we do have the reduction of principal, and you have the line here, and it'll just focus on principal. But down below you have two areas also to invest your savings. You could do it directly into the savings account or an investment account. So what you could do is, especially with this current mortgage, you could show them, say they're getting 3% in their investment account now. They're going to be saving $372 a month. Whoops. Oh, my rate of return, 100%. Okay, we'll start again, 3%, and then let's go ahead and put in that dollar amount. So 372.53. And this will show the borrower at the end of that 15-year period how much they would accumulate in that investment account. And then as you talk to them, if you find out they already have money in that account, you can add the investment balance and provide that accumulation total. You can also show them, split it. You could put $100 toward principal and $272 toward the investment account. So you could do it either way, and you can also apply it to savings if you wanted to do it in that way. So you have three ways to be able to show that reinvestment. So if I press OK, remember always, if you're working with that analysis screen and make a modification, always advance your screen left or right, because that initiates that save. I know it's pretty cool playing with that screen. And what's nice is as you start working with Mortgage Coach and start understanding Edge Live and such, we're going to be moving to the mobile and working with Edge Live as well. You can always start using the reinvestment matrix in your conversation. So you could start and have everything applied to principal, and then as you're talking, you could go into the analysis screen and put money toward investment as well as principal, and they could see it while you talk. So the advantages of working with that and Edge Live. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and bring over the mobile. And let's take a look at, just one moment, let me put up my reflector, my Chromecast. Almost there. Okay. Okay, so let's bring the mobile device over, and then what we're going to do is start talking about the presentation, and we're going to talk about the mobile at the same time. So with that, what I want to do is bring up our presentation, and a quick way to find the link is in the lower right-hand corner, there's a share button. So you can see a pop-out will display, and it has the link ID. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put in the link ID, which is, and if you have your mobile, the Mortgage Coach app downloaded, you could go ahead and place this number in as well. It's 1, B as in boy, V as in Victor, F as in Frank, K, L. I'm also putting it in the chat area. If you want to click on the link and follow along to experience Edge Live, you could do so. So you can see how the mobile device, when it comes up, the borrower will have to click I understand, and then they can see your presentation. So you can also, as they could go through it, you can see how they can see the summary, payment breakdown, closing costs, and reinvestment. But what they can also do is you could drive the report for them. Bill, your question for SMS or email, are you referring to the link itself? The link, what the link is provided with the presentation. You could get on the desktop through the share button, and then I'll show you a moment how we can access it on the mobile device. But this is a link that you would copy and you would paste, or you could click on an email and it will go ahead and start an email for you with that link already embedded in it. Perfect. So let's go ahead and open up a presentation. And this is just as if the borrower, you can see that the disclosure will come up. And what I'm going to do is put everything side by side, show Edge Live a little bit, and then we're going to move and just focus on the mobile, and we're going to go into the silhouette and talk about the mobile in a bit. So let me just put everything side by side, and we'll be able to show you how this works. Okay, so first off, you'll see the two presentations side by side. You'll notice on the very left-hand side, at the very bottom, there's a clear all button. The right-hand side does not have that. The right-hand side is the borrower's copy. The left-hand side, that clear all button allows you to clear out all the highlights at one time. So you can see how I highlighted the column, it highlighted for the borrower, and I could clear out those highlights all at once, not just on my copy, but the borrower's copy. And now what we could do is also, let me bring the mobile device back over. What this will do is, as we make the modifications, you can see how it also drives the mobile device. So if we're talking to them about that reduction payment, you can see how it's highlighting for the borrower. Whoops, move that down. And it also will go ahead and open up and drive the mobile presentation as well. So here's the reinvestment strategy. It's not highlighted. I wonder if I have the right link. Yeah. So it would also drive the mobile device as well. So you can open up the more info button. A lot of times, oh, there it goes. Now it's doing it. So now that I've opened up the payment breakdown, let's go ahead and click on reinvestment. You'll notice I just drove the borrower's presentation and I just drove the mobile device as well. So we can highlight those different fields for them so they can follow along, and you'll be able to provide that information to the borrower. So you can see how I'm driving the mobile device as well as the desktop. Oh, the desktop's a little lagging. I have quite a bit of technology going on right now showing this, but you can see how it's easy to be able to drive the presentation, drive that conversation, and not only that, you can add and remove products. So say we didn't want to see that current mortgage anymore, you could just go into Mortgage Coach. I'm going into Select Report, unmark current mortgage. Remember, press the move right or left, and you'll see the borrower's copy has already been updated and the current mortgage has been removed, and you'll see our copy will update shortly as well. And with that, what you'll see is you can add products. So if you want to show them an ARM product, it would go ahead and provide them, you can add it and they would see it instantaneously. So there we go. So now what I wanted to do, let's bring over the mobile device and let's talk about the mobile device and how to use that a little bit. So the borrower receives the link through an email from you. They click on the link and they can view the presentation. So what you could do as a loan officer, this is the home screen of your app. So this is when the link, the borrower clicks on the link. First, they'll be driven to the App Store to download the app. Then when they click on the link, this is the home screen, and then they go directly into the presentation, click the disclosure, view your video message. So as a loan officer, where you want to go is in the silhouette. So in the silhouette is your account. And let me go ahead and log into our account here. There we go. And once you've logged in once, oh, I got everything. Sorry, guys. And once you've entered it once, then you won't have to do it again. So it saves your login credentials and you'll be off and not have to worry about that. So before we jump into our partners, clients, and performance, want to point out one more silhouette in the upper right-hand corner. This is where you could turn on prompting for albums, for videos. And we do have this option. We always suggest that you record your first message to the borrower, but using a pre-recorded follow-up video is a great way to go, but always do that that first message to them, personalize it, and provide that to them. So now if you go into your Mortgage Coach Edge, let me just bring this over so you could connect the dots with everything. I'm going to go to our home screen, and you can see the upper areas clients, lower areas partners. So we have the two items here. And then we also have performance. And performance uses the data over in this area here. So let's just take a look at our clients. So if I go into my clients, you can see how my files are listed, just how they're listed on the home screen. You're able to do a search for a particular product. You could do it by first, last, or email address. If you do a search on Mortgage Coach, you do it through your View All button. You can sort down and then do your search this way. So there's two ways of searching to find your files on the mobile app or your desktop. So let's go back. And if you wanted to check out your views, you'd be able to see your views, the date and time it was last viewed. What you can also do on your home screen, you have your report tracking tab. You can see I have that same listing that's listed on my mobile. It also tells me on the desktop how many times that presentation has been viewed. So I want to point out that if you clicked on any of these files, it would open up the presentation. So always remember, if you want to edit, make sure it's on recent client and that it is white right there. So now let's pick up the file that we were working on today. So you'll see when you click on it, you could do view report, you could do live reporting, or you record a video. So if we go into live reporting, you could drive the presentation from your mobile app. So let's go ahead and bring back the borrower's copy here. So first what I want to do, So with that, what I'm going to do is go ahead and click on summary. And I'm going to just start highlighting on that first product. You can see how I'm highlighting, I drove the presentation. If they were using a mobile, I'd be driving their mobile presentation. If I clicked on reinvestment, you could see how it will go ahead and open up the reinvestment on the borrower side, on the desktop. So just as you could drive the presentation on the desktop for the borrower, if you're out and need to connect, you could drive that presentation as well through your mobile app. You'll also notice there's the clear all button at the top here. So if I click on clear all, it will clear out all our highlights. We also will be having, just to let you know, hopefully this fall we're going to be releasing where you can actually do your data input from your mobile device as well. So that's how you could go ahead and access your file. You could go ahead and do Edge Live through that. And the other item I wanted to point out is performance. So performance, just want to point out, here's your graphs of your different report views. If you go to Edge Live, it looks similar. It's counting the numbers here. So you'll be able to see how many partners versus clients that you've created on a weekly or a monthly basis. You'd be able to see the track that information as well. So with that, I've covered the items that I wanted to with the mobile device as well with Edge and creating the presentation. For the rest of the call, if there's any questions that you have, if there's something that you specifically want me to show, let's go ahead and put in the question area and I can answer those questions. But as for today's training, I've covered the topics that I want to be able to cover. And thank you for those questions, Andrew and Bill and Les. It helped, and if there's anything, I'll be staying on the call for now, answering any kind of questions. So let me know what you want to see, dive into a little bit more. And when I'm waiting for any questions, just remember the help button takes you to our knowledge base, which also takes you to our events calendar, which provides training. We also have our coaching call archive where today and all our Tuesday coaching calls, great Andrea, are archived here. So you can see if the past calls, they'll be in this area. And then also with Mortgage Coach, just remember if, especially on the weekend or in the evening, and you can't access our support, you do have a search engine. So say if you did have a question on mortgage insurance, you could type in MI or spell it out. And you can see that all the frequently asked questions or video tutorials will go ahead and, I spelled it wrong, we'll come back for you. So if we want to talk about reinvestment, you can see reinvestment strategy, and it will provide you any video assets for the reinvestment. Okay, so good, Andrew. I hope that it helped you. Remember that we do have the Mortgage Coach University plus the mobile training. You want to get a little bit more in depth. That Mobile Wednesday is a great class. They're a little bit more, we'll show you how to sell using that mobile. I showed a lot of the functions of how to use the mobile. So that is a great call to get more comfortable. And as I said, I know people who've attended that multiple times just to get that fluidness and that comfortability with the mobile piece. Okay, with that, I don't see any other questions that are coming through the question area. Um, so with that, if you have any questions at all, email them to support@mortgagecoach.com. Provide us the link to your presentation. It does help us to be able to view your presentation. It helps us to understand your question and be able to respond. So if you can provide that link, and always remember, if you're on the desktop, it's really easy just to press that share button, grab the link, and send it to us. So with that, everyone, thank you very much for attending Mortgage Coaches Training Thursday. If there's a topic that you specifically want to see on a future training, please email us at support, and we'll build that presentation on our Training Thursday. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.